was here against the Bradford Bulls when they were beaten 36 points to 0. Can the mini giants produce something of a rally in this second half? They started and finished the half quite brightly, but sandwiched in between 5 tries to the Bulls. 28-0 as Jamie Foster gets the second half underway. And Huddersfield, plenty to play for in this second half for these young players. As you were saying, Phil, there's players here looking to impress the coach, Paul Anderson. No question he'll be the coach of the year, but a lot of work to be done for the Giants.
Well, there was. A lot of the contact in hitting in the defence was pretty good in the first half, but they weren't able to stick. They've made 1 or 2 changes here now. 1 or 2 of the subs on the bench. Jack Blagborough is on, the first guy to carry it forward. He had number 35 on his back. I think we'll see a few more runs from him. And if they can improve a little bit in the defence, well, maybe there'll be some more positives, but they've lost possession. And Elliot Keir, who's been one of the hottest players on the field in the first half, but he finds the ball in his hands.
Yeah, Paul Anderson might take the opportunity to blood Blackburn, as you saw, and Peter Aspinall as well. 2 teenagers on the bench, and they're both local products from Huddersfield. And getting their chance tonight. Getting his chance over the... Oh, that's got to be forward from Foster to Jared Samet. Jared Samet will score first and let someone else ask the questions about the legitimacy of the pass. It's his second try of the night, and it's a try in the first 60 seconds of the second half to Jared Samet, who strolls over.
Well, the Giants struggled out wide, coping with what Bradford threw at them in the first half, and it looks as though that might be the case in the second. When the ball's been turned over here, lost around the halfway line, Luke George into the hands of Elliot Keir. And as he did in the first half, he transferred the ball from one side of the field to the other. Nice little bit of deception from Samet. Looked as though he was going to go to in the middle of the field. Initially went wide to the left. It then fired back into his hands. He started it and he finished it.
Well, the final pass, or the try-scoring pass, came from Foster.
It's one of those where if we've got momentum in the player running forward, you know, it does look to come out of the hands almost flat and drifts forward. So it's probably okay because it comes out of the hands okay.
Borderline maybe. It's a try. That's all that matters. Jared Samet's got his second. Jamie Foster will surely add the extras here and make it 5 from 6. That'll be 14 points for his night's work so far for Foster. And the Bulls go 34-0 up. Full time in the south of France, where the Warrington Wolves have hung on to a 14-12 success. It means nothing to the Warrington Wolves, who will finish second anyway, but it means plenty to Sean McRae and Hull FC.
Oh, sorry, I was just doing a bit of a dance along with the music, but I'm sorry about that.
You lose out on
That's
air
great.
miles.
I forgot about the air miles. Brian, thanks for reminding me about that.
So Catalan Dragons lose the game, and that means they finish 7th. That means they play away from home at the 6th place team, none other than Hull FC. Let's go down sideline and get the half-time news. Graham Beecroft's there. Graham?
Well, Francis Cummings, I spoke to, he said, what do you think? I said at half-time, he said, I said to him, same again. He said, absolutely right, same again. Finish the season in style. Huddersfield, they want the physicality up. They want a better effort in this second half than we saw in the first from them, and they want more fight from the play of the ball. So plenty for Huddersfield to do, clearly.
Thanks, Graham.
Yeah, I think the difficulty for this Huddersfield team is that you've got to go searching for the ball. When you've got the ball, if you think about winning the game, you're going to try to play a little bit of catch-up rugby league. The problem with playing catch-up is if it doesn't come off for you, you'll end up creating more error and you'll get more points scored against you. Huddersfield are in a very, very difficult situation here as we just wait for referee Ben Thaler to have some minor adjustments to some equipment, and we're ready to go now. Oh, no, false start there. But the Bradford Bulls can play with a bit of flair and finesse, and they've got a lot of confidence now when they look at the scoreboard. The only thing I want to see from the Bradford Bulls is when Huddersfield get the ball, I want to see if there's as much enthusiasm to defend as there is when they're running the football and scoring tries.
Well, some schoolmasterly finger-wagging there from Ben Thaler. Spotted someone out of line, threatening a detention to 1 or 2 of the young Bradford Bulls players who'd strayed offside. We're back in play, we're back in business. Bradford 34-0.
And Huddersfield will be begging for a try in these next few minutes, just to give them a lift, to give them a bit of confidence, to tell some of these youngsters, some of the 4 debutants in the side, that we got a chance to put a smile on our home faces in this game. Perhaps not win the game, but go out with our heads held high.
Playoff starting on Thursday. Huddersfield Giants will kick off the post-season at home at the John Smith Stadium against the Wigan Warriors, and we know now how the other things will pan out. Warrington will be taking on Wigan on Saturday afternoon, and Hull FC will host the Catalan Dragons, and St Helens will host the Hull KR team led by Craig Sandicott. We'll confirm all that later on, but that will be the first round of the playoff matches. It will be sudden death for Hull and Catalan and Saints and Hull KR. The other four, of course, do get a second bite if they get beat in the first match.
Well, this could feel like a deathly experience here for Huddersfield, because Bradford's aggression is that much in defence here now. They're enjoying this game. They've had some sad and dark days this season, but this is one that they're determined to enjoy here now. Completely in control, 34 points to 0. They want to make sure that they ruthlessly punish their opponents this evening.
Well, it would be, and it in all probability will be, Bradford's 300th win of the weekly rounds in Super League. St Helens have most with 342 as Jamie Foster gathers a high bomb and goes off on a run, spots half a space, and the space closed up. He tried to get the ball away to Lalia. The ball was spilled. It will be a knock-on. Well, here is a chance for the Huddersfield Giants to put something on that they worked on yesterday and earlier on in the week in training. Because they're in position here 20 metres out to put on a planned move or two.
Well, you'd think they'd have enough enthusiasm and energy, you know, early in the second half to try some sort of a play in this set of 6. We've got some exciting backs we've been told about. We've no doubt got wonderful futures in the professional rugby.
And they got a Kumatai standing out in the centre position, Phil, as well. You'd be surprised, wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if the ball gets out to him and they try and get him to do a little bit of damage.
The spectacled Paul Anderson looking very studious, watches on from the dugout as Huddersfield have their best field position for some time. Wood. And he uses his young half-back partner, Jack Miller. This has been an education for Miller, who they've got lots of hope for. Son, as we mentioned, of the Doncaster coach, Tony Miller, England Academy International. That is a lovely ball to the fullback, Jake Connor. Connor's very close to the try line. It's Nathan Mason, in fact, who gets almost over the try line before he's wrestled back. Mason, who's 20 tomorrow. It was almost an early birthday present for the young man. There is Connor. Well, that's spilled and that's come forward off Bradford, I think, and the referee waves play on. So the tackle count is wiped down, and Luke George almost scores against his future employers. He will be playing for the Bradford Bulls next season. Leeming, who scored a try in his only other appearance against Warrington, is in at dummy half, and Bradford, for the first time in the second half, have had to work overtime to defend their try line.
Well, that's Blackburn. He went course, recently got 3 A's at A-level, but didn't quite get the 4 points to help his side here get the first reward on the score. But they're keeping it alive here. And it's back to Furbank again, held up by the Bradford defence.
Well, full credit to Huddersfield because they are keeping it alive, but equal credit to Bradford, who are refusing to have their try line breached. Remember, it won't affect them this season. They can't make the playoffs, but they're defending like this is a playoff scenario here, the Bradford Bulls, hanging on to that nil against their opponent's name. Leeming again is a little ball to Fairbank. And is there going to be a try this time for Nathan Mason? Is not. That's twice he's got within sniffing distance of the try line, but couldn't quite get the ball down. Wood with the left-footed kick to that far touchline, and it's picked off again by the flying Jamie Foster.
Well, there's 5 drives in the kick. You just don't usually see it when a team's attacking so close to the opposition try line. Really not a lot of variety in the Bradford Bulls attack. Driving the ball, getting held up, and some great Bradford defence. The Huddersfield attack was pretty blunt there. Come up with a kick at the end to try and break up the defence.
Would you imagine, Sean, as a coach looking on, that last 60 seconds has frustrated you because you've watched what your side are capable of when they've put their mind to defending the line?
Well, I think you're right, Phil, absolutely, because I think when you talk about pride in performance, you take that information there, you would take that as part of a review and show your players and say, this is what we mean when we talk about playing as a group and playing as a team and never surrendering. And you just wonder why that doesn't occur enough for a side like the Bradford Bulls, because it's clear they can do it.
Well, that came off a Bradford hand, so the tackles count will restart as Miller's tackle. Francis Cummings is not putting his feet up and smoking a large cigar, as Sean said he could afford to do, but he's still grafting away, Francis Cummings, right until minute 80 of the final match of the season.
You're not allowed smoking stadiums, Rod. It's 2013.
So that reminder, Brian, of the UK law. 4 Bradford Bulls are in on the tackle and force Huddersfield backwards. Leeming again This is a Huddersfield club that hasn't lost in Super League since the 7th of June when they were beaten at Hull KR. And of course, since then they've fielded a much different side than the one they've got on tonight, but they still haven't tasted defeat in the game's Premier competition since then. Leeming again, heavily involved. There is a lot of promise in amongst what's gone out there, and certain players will have enhanced their reputation as far as the Huddersfield Giants are concerned.
Well, they've decided that some ball movement's perhaps the best way, Brian, that they can get forward or through the Bradford defence. Kyle Wood this time shifting it on to Miller. Again, it goes wide, this time to Connor. But they're outnumbered, he steps inside and goes for the line.
And Jake Connor scores the try. Jake Connor scores the try for the Huddersfield Giants. They will not be nilled here tonight. He is a prolific scorer in the academy. 9 in his last 8 games, and he shows he knows the way to the try line. He spotted half a gap. Ken Davey, the Huddersfield owner, looks on and delighted that his young side have got on the score sheet thanks to Jake Connor.
Well, the owners invested a lot of money in this club, and not just in the first team that we've seen week in, week out throughout Super League, but in a lot of the young players and the development of them. Here's a great example of a player who's outnumbered, but steps inside Samet, pushes away Addy and rounds the fullback. He made that look easy at a level he's not used to playing.
Yeah, you're right, Jared Samet probably would have thought he had him sewn up, and if not, Danny Addy could have cleaned him up coming on the inside, but a good left-hand fed. I saw him accelerate over the try line. The well-taken try, great balance, shifting the ball from his hands. He's deserved that score in this game.
Jack Miller is going to be on goal-kicking duty. Can he turn the 4 into 6 for the Huddersfield Giants? Yes, he can. 34-6, and the 2 young Braves from the Giants have combined to put 6 points on the score sheet. The try from Jake Connor on debut, and converted on debut by Jack Miller. So a night for those 2 young men to remember.
Well, players with footwork are always very exciting, aren't they? And look at this, fan, and straight through, and seemingly not moving. And that's what I like about some players. They just go across the turf at a speed. It's
like a glide.
Exactly, Brian, exactly. Hey, Phil, I was just going to ask you, were you, when you were at the Roosters, did you play with Anthony Minicello?
No, he came just
after. Yeah, I was going to say, do you think there's a little bit of a young Anthony Minicello there in the
physical resemblance, or in his ability to change direction? Don't forget, about 10 years ago, I think most people would agree, Anthony Minicello was probably the best fullback in the world of rugby league, and it's a long time for him to go. But I think Jake Connor's shown in his ability to attack there that he has something that very few people can produce.
Well, if he turns out to be half as good, he's going to be a good player, isn't he? But I just thought there's a little bit of even a facial resemblance there, and perhaps the way he carries the ball. So Huddersfield, I think, have got a real future player there. And I don't want to ignore the ability of Curtis Norton as well. We haven't seen much of him in the second half. The Bradford fullback, I think both fullbacks have been outstanding here tonight.
I think he looks like Jeff Goldblum.
There's a lot of young fullbacks flying around the league. You've got one at your club as well. Jamie Shaw is very promising as well, Sean. Let's have a look at what's coming up in Super League in a moment or two after this kick goes into touch and Bradford get the scrum deep inside their own territory. Right, OK, the playoffs coming up. They start on Thursday night, and they start with the league leaders Huddersfield against the Challenge Cup winners Wigan, 8 o'clock, Sky Sports 1, Thursday night. Then on Friday night, Catalan Dragons, after losing at home to Warrington, must make the arduous journey to Hull FC, one of the most fearsome grounds in the league. Saturday, Warrington versus Leeds, 2:30 start. It is a repeat of last year's grand final, Sky Sports 3. Losers do get a second chance, but the losers here do not. St Helens versus Hull KR on Saturday at 5 o'clock from Langtree Park, also on Sky Sports 3. Things could change if Hull KR run up a score that we've never seen the like of against London Broncos and win by at least 122 points at home to the Broncos. That will not happen, and that will be the schedule, I'm sure, that we've just shown you. All 4 games and all the playoff games live on Sky Sports.
Is it not you that tells me any event, however improbable, is possible?
Yes. In any game, Brian, any outcome, no matter how unlikely it may seem, is possible. But that may not be. As Adam O'Brien rumbles forward. Bradford have actually got 4 players on the field here who can play hooker, and O'Brien is clearly one of them, as Jared Samet puts one as high as we've seen anything tonight, and that is a brilliant take from the man who scored the try just a few moments ago, Jake Connor, the Huddersfield Giants fullback.
If you want to be able to play the game at the highest level, you have to be able to play at both ends of the field, both in attack. We've seen what Jake O'Connor can do, and nicely there in defence, under pressure with defenders chasing him, putting him under all sort of intense. He was able to cope with that and regather the ball. You've got to be able to catch them and score them.
You're absolutely right, Phil. Sometimes we're putting some good half-backs in the full-back position, and they're very good in attack. But when you're a player on the field, the first thing you want your full-back to do is be defensively secure. When the ball's in the air or somebody's made a break and a cover tackle defender, you wanted the full-back to be as good as anybody else on the field at doing those things, Sean.
Absolutely, Brian. And the other thing, he's got to be able to read numbers. You know, he's such a pivotal role for you. I don't mean pivotal as in playing as a pivot, but in terms of his importance to the team. He sets the defence. He moves people around. He's almost like moving the chess player for you.
Bradford, with this win, if and when it is confirmed, will finish the season 9th, just one spot outside the playoff places. Worst finish, 10th in the Super League, so they've avoided any kind of repetition of that. It has been a troubled 18 months financially for the Bradford Bulls, but they hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel, both on and off the field here, under their recently appointed owner, Omar Khan. Here on the field, they're looking good. They lead 6 tries to 1, they lead 34 points to 6.
They only got his first taste of rugby league. Before the game, there was a game played between the Bradford ex-players and the ones from Huddersfield, and the owner from Bradford actually had a run out there as Huddersfield make a mess of this.
What's happened, Phil? He's got himself so far in field, they're able to kick over his head. He needs to start out wide and come across. At least allow himself to move over the ball. If they kick over his head and he's standing on the sideline, the ball's going to go dead in touch. Dead in goal or out over touch. He needs to stay out of the sideline, attack the ball out to in. On that occasion, he got himself cut around too far inside. Bradford were able to take advantage of that with a good kick over his head.
Another reminder on Wednesday night, boots and all, 6 p.m. kick-off, Sky Sports 2, Huddersfield Giants special as we look back on the achievements this year of Ken Davies' club. Earl Crabtree will be there, and Ken himself involved in the programme as Huddersfield Giants celebrate winning the League Leaders' Shield, finishing top for the first time in over 8 decades. Samet, well, looking one way and passing the other, but unfortunately not looking where his teammates were, one of which was Elliot Keir, who's had a big game for the Bradford Bulls, and he offloads to Lulia, back for Keir, juggles, Addy, stands, waits, and then moves forward again and finds Samet. Samet stepping and threatening to go through the line, gets the ball away to Luke Gale. Did he play at it with his hand or did it come off his knee? It's academic now as Gale makes the stop. And another Bradford attack comes to nothing in the end, but Samet again threatening to unlock the door.
Well, the Bulls look as though they want to win the try of the season competition in the second half. They've shifted the ball wide to the left-hand side, brought it back to the right. They're going to keep it alive. They'll try any sort of players here now to entertain the loyal supporters who've stuck with them through another difficult season. And you can't doubt that maybe in the next 24 minutes they might come up with one that beats the one we've seen so far tonight.
Well, Jared Samet bringing the beard back into fashion in Super League alongside Danny Kermon. There have been some spectacular facial adornments in Super League 18, and Samet has played some spectacular stuff tonight. He started the scoring for the Bradford Bulls early on in the piece, and he's added a second in this second period. Good stuff from Curtis Norton. He's done well at fullback, Sean mentioned that, and I think both the fullbacks, the young fullbacks, have had a good night. That is a meaty hit. He'll do well to get up from that, Curtis Norton. He's done well. And Mullally, who is not afraid to put himself about, levelled the teenager.
Well, from up here, it looked like a high tackle, but he didn't hit the body. As you say, a lot of fullbacks who are fast don't necessarily like the contact. He's shown he's not afraid to get himself in between defenders. The only way he can break through the other side of it is if you run at them, and he's certainly prepared to do that.
This is Sam Wood, and he's scored on his debut against Rochdale in the Cup. Saw him play at Wigan early in the season. He looks another impressive talent. They've got some coming through, Bradford.
They have, Rod, but Huddersfield Giants have stemmed the bleeding now. In this second half, they've got themselves back into this game. I don't believe they'll go on and win it. It would take a near miracle for that to happen, but they've certainly given themselves a chance of finishing the game and putting a smile perhaps on the face of their coach, Paul Anderson. They didn't want this scoreline to run away from them because it could very easily pump out to 50 the way the Bradford Bulls are playing in patches, but it looks like the Huddersfield Giants have now dragged themselves back into it.
Cruz leaving. cruises over the halfway line. Cording is at dummy half. Wood plays it back inside. Mullally and Cording. This is better. Miller. Jack Miller takes 2 Bradford Bulls to take him down. One of them was Samet. Leeming again goes in at dummy half for the young Huddersfield Giants. Wood attacking the line and almost breaking through the line, the Huddersfield Giants. This is a good spell for Paul Anderson's team, no question about that. Probably the best spell of the match. Left-footed kick forward. Half a chance here for Connor again. Samet is back there sweeping.
Was it Pete Aspinall, wasn't it, the second row, who chased upfield? You know what, he used to play standoff in his rugby union days, and he's transferred from the Huddersfield YMCA club, actually, and done a pretty good job. But Elliot Keir again looks fantastic tonight.
Look at this from Elliot Keir. Strictly come rugby league as he hot steps his way through 2 or 3 tackles. That was wonderful stuff. Here is Sam Wood. There's a broken field, runs into traffic and goes down a cul-de-sac, but Elliot Keir's break was simply sensational. There was some real hip swivelling going on from the young Welshman. Gale looking to go left. They've got men stacked up over there. Lalia, can he offload? He can, only to the touch judge. And really, shame from a neutral point of view that break from Elliot Keir didn't eventually lead to a try, because it was wonderful stuff.
Well, I think what we have to pay compliment to, with the number of Huddersfield players who worked so hard here to get back and prevent Elliot Keir from scoring. You know, the game's well over, but there was enough desire in the black shirts. Look, Luke George, several of them around, he had to stop. And even then, when he found his teammate Sam Wood, they were cover to prevent him from scoring. A good effort there from Huddersfield.
Oh, he's been very good, Elliot Keir, hasn't he, Phil? You've identified him from the start of the game. He's really been on form. John Wells mentioned that he has trained the whole week leading up to this game in the full-back position. Previous to that, he had played all the games on the wing for the Bradford Bulls. It would have been told at the start of the week, OK, listen, Elliot, you're in at the full-back role and you have to get used to that, but slips back out into his wing position with ease.
Yeah, Francis Cummins had to juggle the players around with a couple of players failing fitness tests, but Keir really has had a wow of a game. He's played every game in Super League so far this season. Knock on by Mullally has handed them more field position here, the Bradford Bulls, and this time the red danger light is flashing because 2 tackles gone and they're right on the try line. And Gale, well, that is a shocking pass. And in the end, Sam Wood has done very, very well to smother that on the ground and not knock it on. Gale again. Ben Evans, twin brother of Warrington's Rhys Evans, who scored a try for the Wolves in their win in the south of France against Catalan Dragons. Here's Gale again. Here's the hat-trick for the hot-stepping Jared Samet. Jared Samet bags a hat-trick on the final day of last season. He scored 4 against the Catalan Dragons. He likes the last day of the season. He's going to finish the season on another high here. Samet, a hat-trick.
Well, he'd been in a great mood for his holidays here. They had 6 attackers and just 4 defenders when the time to get to it, because Ben Evans has rushed up, forced the error, gained the possession and the field position, and the Bulls are able to find the right passes to the right players for some more points.
Well, Jack Miller here, Phil, he has got to come in and hit Jared Samet. There's no point in looking outside. Your inside defence has been bust. Your only role is to come in and hit the man as hard as you possibly can. He'll learn the lessons from this, but the 34 on that occasion should have gone in and tried his very best to put that man on his back.
Well, sending a message to somebody perhaps back home in Australia. It's 40 points to 6, or it will be when this gets knocked over by Jamie Foster, and that's a hat-trick at home and away against Huddersfield Giants for Samet, and it is his 4th hat-trick for the Bradford Bulls. And this is his 24th try of the season in all competitions for the bearded Australian. That's a pretty fair return. Foster tags on 2. Takes Bradford to the 40 mark. 6 from 7 for Jamie Foster. 16 points on the evening.
Interesting you talk about Jared Samet, just on our screen there now, and he's a very influential player. But not only can he create, he can finish, and that's what makes him so dangerous, because he can actually ball play, he can also run a hole like that. Even though it was a rookie-style defensive error from young Jack Miller, but you know, he'll learn from that, Brian, as you rightly say. The thing about Jared Samet, I think I'm right in saying he missed quite a lot of football for the Bradford Bulls this year with a thigh injury or a calf injury,
He missed 4 games, Sean, in June and July, and all 4 games were lost.
Yeah, and that's my point. Players like that, are sometimes very difficult to replace. I think in every club, you'll look at some key players and say, if this guy goes out for a mid-term injury or a long-term injury, we're probably in trouble because we can't replace those players. I can put a kid there, I can put an experienced player in that position who's not quite suited to it, but I need Jared Samet on the field.
I'll give you a big call here. I don't know if there's many halfbacks that run the ball better than Jared Samet. I'm not saying he's the best halfback in the Super League, but there's not many that run the ball as well as he do.
Well, I agree with you, Brian. He's a threat. That's what you want. You need one of your pivots, if not both of them, to be threats at the line on regular occasion. And he threatens you. He doesn't mind getting hit, and he's a very strong character and a very strong player. And he's having a field day here tonight because he's playing against a side full of rookie kids, and he's taking advantage of that, and he's showing off his skills. But he can do that against the best.
Well, if Samet had played those 4 games and if Bradford had won them, they may have made the playoffs. But if is afterlife.
I think it's worth remembering here, Rod, and you have already referenced it, that when Huddersfield had their strongest side at the start of the season, Bradford still beat them by 25 points. So this isn't just because Huddersfield don't have the strongest team out. And the ebb and flow of a team's performance throughout the season is very interesting. The timing of your fixtures when you play against the side has a massive bearing on where you finish at the end of the year, whether you hit a side that are strong at the time or going through a lull.
Yes, Bradford are going to join Warrington as having beaten Huddersfield twice in the Super League this season. Although, of course, Bradford have had the advantage of playing Huddersfield 3 times. They met them at Magic as well, and Warrington only twice. But still, it's 2 wins out of 3, however you dress it up, against the team that's collected the League Leaders' Shield, and that is a feather in the Bradford cap to go into the off-season with, as Jamie Foster tries to drive his way through a hole, but Carl Wood is there to make an important step with Miller, but Miller has got caught out at marker there, and half a chance for Conroy to go beavering away for the Bradford Bulls. It's Samet now again, dictating the play superbly. Foster just subtly drops off the ball, and Addy's having a good time down that left-hand side there, really making hay, the likes of Lalia, Addy and Foster down that left flank.
Well, for about the first 15 minutes or so of the second half, Huddersfield were able to cope physically with Bradford, but you can see here now, with quicker play of the balls and far more offloads, Bradford are just gaining here in control. And that's a kick that's gone out of play, though. My
goodness, he overcooked that, Elliot Keir.
Well, he can do most things, but maybe he can't find the tactical kick towards the end of a set.
No, I think they'll be probably saying leave it to Gale or Samet next time, Elliot. Mind you, worse chance to make a mistake in a game than when you're 40 points to 6 in front and there's only 15.5 minutes left on the game clock.
Yeah, you sometimes only get one go. He won't do it again. That's it. He's off. The crooks come out, removed him from kicking duties. But the other thing, Rod, I'd make the point too, is this has actually been quite an entertaining game. I mean, 40 points to 6, you say, well, surely it's all been one-sided. Huddersfield have actually made a contribution in the second half. They've offloaded, they've kept nice little passes like that, just nice little 2 plays, a little offload again. You're going to try and find some space. There's a longer ball, try and offload again. That's the problem. What we just saw, that's the problem. And I said it at the start of the second half, when you play catch-up, you've no choice, but you've got to be prepared to defend them because you're probably going to come up with a few errors.
Well, a fortnight ago, I watched, as you did, Sean, obviously, Hull FC at Wigan, and Wigan with a similar youthful side to we're seeing from Huddersfield now. And their kids played in a similar fashion, didn't they? Looking to be progressive, looking to promote, looking to offload, looking to move the ball wide, and it produced a thrilling game, which obviously Hull edged home in.
Yeah, and could have gone either way, as we saw, and similar thing. Both sides probably guilty of coming up with errors, and then you've got to defend. And the best sides will defend errors, and I dare say the team that's going to win the competition this year will have an ability to do that very, very thoroughly.
Elliot Keir has crabbed his way across the field. He went about 2 yards forward and 35 sideways, but Bradford is still in possession. And Samet again fancies a 4th. Oh, he offloaded. He may have gone himself. It's a penalty anyway for a pullback off the ball. Samet went clean through, and when he offloaded, it was only because the man was being dragged back illegally there that prevented Samet's offload going into the hands of Evans, Ben Evans, who would have scored.
Brilliant acceleration from Jared Samet. You can see here now 1 or 2 of the Huddersfield players just starting to tire, and that metre of difference will be the difference here. I think here, as we see a further try, he would have. If we can guess a try, Brian, and predict a try, I think there's one coming right now.
Okay, I'll say no.
Well, on another evening in a game of crucial importance, that might have produced a sin-binning, that, because Evans, I think, was a certain try scorer had he not been manhandled. Anyway, they play on. Alberson running across the field, running away from Luke George. Norton dancing his way through and dancing his way into the arms of a rather unwelcoming Matty Dawson. Two of the young men, two of the teenagers, two of the debutants on show. Now it goes back to Evans, and Ben Evans offloads brilliantly to Gale. Gale, can he get it wide to that left wing? He can, on the hop to Jamie Foster. Kick from it, Salmon! A fourth try if it's allowed. Ben Thaler goes to the video referee. Bradford got it wide on the bounce to Foster, who got the kick in. And you know who. Salmon was there to touch down.
Brian, have you ever watched this game before?
Phil Clark,
from a rugby union background, didn't you?
Buy a lottery ticket. What a finish. Jamie Foster's kick inside. If Salmon has grounded it fairly, which he has done, that's a great bit of skill as well. That's a great combination between Foster and Salmon. And Phil, you're right, you called it.
Try to Salmon. His fourth of the match. What a wonderful night for Jared Salmon. And as we mentioned last season on the seasonal finale, he backed four on that occasion against Catalan Dragons. One for the statisticians. Has any man ever scored 4 tries on the final day of a season in successive years? Surely not. Salmon makes it 44 points to 6. There was the early penalty.
Well, the penalty just prolonged the pain for the Huddersfield team here, who were defending valiantly, but unable to prevent the offloads and the speed with which Bradford have played. Long ball over the top, and a brilliant piece of skill from Jamie Foster. So many players would kick that ball too hard. He was one of the best kickers in the game. He knew the weighting that was needed as he dropped the ball to his foot and hoped that he or his teammate would be the first to the line. Just checks it inside, spots that Sammet's there, and brilliant vision from the left winger.
Sammet having a ball here. Foster looking to make it 7 from 8. He strokes a very good ball, Jamie Foster.
It's an interesting story, really, Jamie Foster, isn't he? We know how good a goal kicker he is, and we've seen it plenty of times, but he's a very skillful player as well. I remember a try score for St Helens at Headingley against Leeds, where he's had to juggle the ball around behind his back before grounding in the corner, avoiding the corner flag. It was no easy feat, no mean feat, but he was able to do it. And he showed with that little kick for Jared Salmon that he's a skillful player.
Yeah, we had him at Hull FC last year for a lengthy period of time on loan from St Helens. I tell you, he's an intelligent rugby league player. He reads play very well. I think he's just as happy at home on there's a kick out on the full. Just sort of adds to the errors from Huddersfield. Going back to Jamie Foster, though, I think that he's just as home at fullback. You know, he's a smart player, he reads play well, he links with everybody, he understands the concept, he understands his role and responsibility. And sometimes you get labelled as a goal kicker. So this guy's a good goal kicker, and by the way, he plays rugby league as well. I don't see Jamie Foster like that at all.
Well, it was here that he had an absolute nightmare for St Helens against Bradford. It was the match that cost Roy Simmons his job and actually cost Jamie Foster his place at St Helens.
Well, I think he let the ball bounce on the far side, thinking that it was going to go out by about a metre, and it was a freakishly tried, scored by the home side. So I think they're being a bit unlucky to blame him, but wrong place at the wrong time. And as you say,
it wasn't me that blamed him, Phil. It was the coach who fizzed him out on loan to Hull FC. It was Kieran Cunningham and Mike Rush who were in charge. I don't make the decisions at St Helens. Don't you worry about that.
You explain. You're very influential on back chat, Rod. Don't underestimate it.
Here at Bradford, looking for more tries, and Sammet might be looking for more tries as well. He's already got 4, remember. The Super League record in a match is 6. 2005, Bradford against Hull. The legend that is Leslie Vinacolo bagged half a dozen on his own. And Sammet has got 10 minutes to put his name in lights alongside the Volcano. That would be some feat. Gale's kick is going towards Sammet, and Sammet at this time has to offload. He couldn't get to the try line himself. He looked to get it away to Keith Lalia, who, let's not forget, is also looking for a hat-trick.
Well, they really are hanging on here. Now going backwards or sideways at best here. Ben Evans and James Donaldson. Adam O'Brien, the hooker, they're putting their opponents under pressure. They want more. They've enjoyed 46 points, but they certainly, I think, want to go over 50. Perhaps a disappointing end to the regular season for Huddersfield. I've been finished at the top for so long. Their owners probably wanted to, and board of directors who put such an effort into rebuilding the club over the last decade or more, probably wanted it to end in a happier way. But next Thursday, I guess, will be their focus. I said about Jack Blackburn getting 3 A's at A-level recently. He's a pretty clever young player. He's going to Leeds University, studying a combined maths biology degree. Good luck to him with that.
Well, he won't need a maths degree to realise that Huddersfield are 40 points behind here, and Bradford haven't hoisted the half-century at all in Super League this season. That remains a possibility on the final night of the campaign here for Francis Cummins' side. This is Wood. He's gone straight through a hole. He's gone through 2 holes, and Connor has to come across and knock him down. Francis Cummins rates this guy very, very highly. Sam Wood. He's had limited chances, 4 opportunities this year, but he played in 1 game at Wigan and looked really good in a narrow Bradford defeat. Great offload from Lalia to Samet again, and Samet is fancying a 5th here tonight. He really is turning on the style. The super show from Samet. Bit of afters, bit of chit-chat. 4th tackle, 2 left in the locker here for the Bradford Bulls as Ben Thaler screams held. Gale to the line, wrapped up by Luke George. Oh, now, hello. That was perilously close, but Ben Thaler had the magnifying glass out, said the ball wasn't grounded anywhere near the line. It will be now. Keir, Elliot Keir, has gone over in the corner, and the half-century is hoisted by the Bradford Bulls as Elliot Keir caps a superb performance tonight, and the Welsh international dives over in the corner.
Well, they've been tortured, aren't they? Tortured on their own try line. The passes are sticking, and Bradford are making sure that whenever they get an opportunity, they're going to get over the try line and give their supporters something to shout about. Space out wide has been the problem probably all afternoon for the visitors. Been unable to handle the centres and wingers of the Bradford side. And the guy standing as the right centre, Elliot Keir, in that position, catches the ball, spins from the defence, and goes over for 4 more points.
And that makes it the nifty 50 for the Bradford Bulls. The big 5-0, 50 points to 6. Keir with the latest try, and well, this one will examine Jamie Foster's goal-kicking credentials.
2 little bits of skill in that play, Rod, that we shouldn't neglect to mention. The pass from dummy half that beat the man, that was the key. And then, of course, when Keir got it, he was able to spin out of the tackle. Huddersfield, when they'll look back at that, you defend out a little wider, see what's inside you, and then come and shut out the play. When you're outnumbered like that, there's no point in standing so close. You've got to come out a little wider and then defend from the outside in.
Omar Khan, Bradford owner, is enjoying this evening's entertainment. Bradford are going to win this, no question, but they'd rather be in Huddersfield's shoes on Thursday night. I have no doubt about that, because Bradford's season will end in a few minutes' time as Foster looks to add an 8th conversion out of 9 attempts. That was another silky strike. Bradford lead 52 points to 6. But on Thursday night, the Bradford players will have their feet up. They'll be on the sofa watching Sky Sports, because Huddersfield Giants will kick off the playoff campaign on Thursday night. The league leaders host the Wigan Warriors. 8 p.m. Sky Sports 1 as the 2013 playoffs get underway. Then on Friday evening, big matchup at the KC Stadium in Hull, where Hull FC play Catalan Dragons. Losers are out of the competition. Sky Sports 1, 7:30. Saturday, repeat of the grand final last year, where Leeds upset the Warrington Wolves. Wolves go into this playoff series as favourites. They kick off at 2:30 p.m. on Sky Sports 3. And following that, on a double-header Super Afternoon Super League, St Helens versus Hull KR, and that is an elimination match.
You know what, that's a good lineup of playoff games. For the first weekend, that's an exciting lineup of playoff games.
It will be the most open playoff series yet, fair to say. No real clear favourite. Warrington Wolves head the bookmakers list, but you would not be confident of betting anybody in that top 8 as Samet spills the pill this time.
I was going to make the point, Rod, about these games when they blow out. I was going to bring Stuart Cummins into this, because he's been fairly quiet tonight. I don't think we've had any video decisions to go to. So, Stuart, I just wonder, when a scoreline blows out like this, the mood of the referee, I mean, does the game become easier to referee? Is there sort of less pressure, less tension?
Not at all. It becomes harder. You know, you need to keep the focus. You need to have something that's going to get you through. I actually think Ben's done very, very well with this game today. basically because he's been talking a lot to the Huddersfield players who aren't used to playing at this level, and you know, he could have penalised them a couple of times, but he's managed to talk them through, and I think he's managed the game really well. He'll be looking for momentum going into the playoffs himself, as the referees will. It's, you know, a really competitive group, and he's obviously showing that he's in good shape going into the playoffs.
Talk about a competitive group. The Bradford Bulls have got still a competitive attitude with the defence here. Keith Lalea forces the Giants out of play. Jake Connor, isn't it? Sorry, it's not. It's
It's a penalty anyway. Yeah, Ben Taylor explained it to Keith Lalea with the assistance of a touch judge's intervention, and Huddersfield will get a penalty with 4 minutes left on the clock. Maybe a chance to finish with something to celebrate for the Huddersfield Giants. They've made mistakes. Defensively, they've been opened up like a can of beans on more than one occasion, but they kept battling away. That's a good ball inside from Wood. It's spilled, picked up by Bradford.
Josh Johnson had a chance, didn't he? He's worked very hard. It's tough, you know, playing as a front rower in rugby league. It's perhaps mentally the simplest job, but physically the hardest. And he's taken the ball and lost it in collision.
Yeah, this is probably one of those games where you know, we sometimes hear the coach say, well, it wasn't about the result, it was about the performance. I'm sure Paul Anderson can use that one tonight and say, all I wanted to see was if these guys could handle this situation. Some have, some haven't, but it does no harm. They learn from it, and what you've done is you've exposed some younger players. You see Elliot Keir going through, Jared Samet just... Well, he could have offloaded too.
Yeah, he could have done it. Chip forward, and there's 3 or 4 chasing down that touchline, and in the end it's just pumped in into the stand by Ben Blackmore. Well, again, it was Samet orchestrating things with Elliot Keir. They've been the 2 standouts.
And Elliot Keir is a great example to a lot of the young Huddersfield players making their debuts tonight. You know, his debut was for the Celtic Crusaders when they lost 68-0 back in 2009 against the Leeds Rhinos. And yet look over the last 4 years just how he's developed to be one of the standout players here that we've seen on show.
But Jared Samet reminds me at some point where he was after that. When he looks at it in review, they probably won't do a review of this game, I'm sure. But I'm sure there'll be a reminder either later tonight or sometime tomorrow.
Well, in the end, they kind of got a little bit close to each other, and he really didn't know whether Samet was coming left or right. In the end, he got too close to him and ended up having to put the kick in. But it's certainly an opportunity that Samet could have got his 5th try of the evening. Keir has one. As I say, they've been the 2 standout performers. And Samet to Lalea, and Lalea is looking for a hat-trick. He wasn't held, he offloads towards Keir, and then Foster just spins a pass inside and invites Addy to come charging onto the football once more, and he's within a yard or so. Well, O'Brien will spin it, and they'll look to get it to this near side. Here's Addy once more, and Addy is running into Luke George. Appeals for a high tackle, not given by Ben Thaler. 2 tackles left here. Conroy is in. Nathan Conroy at hooker this time. Samet, long pass. Keith Lalea. Well, he could score here, and he has. It's a hat-trick for Keith Lalea. He gets his hat-trick in the dying embers of the game, and Lalea, who'll be leaving the club, leaving the Bradford Bulls to head back to West Tigers in Australia at the end of the season, has given the Bulls fans a parting gift.
Well, at 26 years of age, he's probably an example of a player who's peaking. Playing centre, you know, isn't the easiest position. You've got to make a lot of decisions in attack, and particularly so in defence. And Keith Lalea has made a lot of excellent ones throughout his time at Bradford. Look, he teases the opposition with the ball held. Massive grip on the ball with his left hand. He holds out the winger. He has a one-on-one, and he's too strong there for Pete Aspinall from close range. Gets over the line and grounds it with good control to cap off what's been a very comprehensive performance from most of the Bradford Bulls. They've been very pleased with the way tonight's gone. Maybe not, though, the way that 2013 has in total.
Siren sounds in the background, and the siren that signals the end of the 2013 season here at Bradford. It'll be a 5th season without a playoff.